on Monday, our friend, Twitter user, Raandy, straight up won the week
Raandy
already.
the God.
Raandy
right off to bat.
Yeah.
One of the greatest of all time.
And, you know, I'm sure you already know about this. His amazing prank, not even a prank, just joke on Twitter, pretending to be a postal worker in Columbus, Ohio, throwing out absentee ballots for Trump, managed to take the nation by storm yesterday. And what I love about this is, like, I guess if you follow us and you know us, you already know about Raandy. But I just love that he's finally getting his due as, like, one of the great Twitter accounts of our time.
It's true. He was tragically underfollowed at this point. I felt like he was only at like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I was just watching that blow up and thinking, like, I remember when he started his account. I was
Me too.
there.
Yeah,
well, not,
we were
physically there,
we were,
but
for a while, like a year ago, me and him were sort of even. And then I went past him, and I always felt guilty because I felt like I didn't deserve it as much as Raandy did.
and you were right.
Well,
that's true. Absolutely.
Well, while it's fun to listen to these low follower accounts talk about what they think are big numbers, I'm very happy for Raandy. This is sort of like Ray Allen going to the Heat. You know what I mean?
I just want to read here. It got a lot of media coverage. I think this is the one from The Intercept. It says, a chorus of outraged conservatives, including Matt Drudge, Rush Limbaugh, and Kurt Schilling, expressed anger on Monday at what they wrongly called evidence that a postal worker in Ohio had destroyed absentee ballots cast in the Republicans' favor. The anger was prompted by the widespread misunderstanding of a satirical tweet posted online Sunday by a member of the loose coalition of pranksters known as Weird Twitter.
Oh, those scamps.
Those scamps are at it again. But yeah, this shit went crazy. Gateway Pundit blew it up. Gateway Pundit Drudge, Scott Baio.
Hell yeah.
This went crazy viral on Monday thanks to some of Trump's most gullible celebrity supporters.
Yep. It's an interesting dynamic because you had the grassroots who are just the stupidest people alive who reacted the way that everyone does because, as I said in an earlier show and was quoted in that very Intercept article, because as we were saying, this episode proves everything we've ever said on the show is correct. People have basically seconded themselves to campaign as like rapid response people. So they see anything and they just immediately have to respond. They cannot filter anything through a critical process. They have to immediately respond. This guy destroyed absentee ballots. We have to stop him. But then at the top, you have a combination of guys like Gateway Pundit who are genuinely as soft-headed and idiotic as the grassroots. But then guys like Drudge who are just cynical guys, and they know that it'll get clicks. And so they'll put it on their sub because, like, you put that on there, everyone's going to, like, shit their pants and click so hard they break their mouse. And that's
Catherine, are you familiar with the Gateway Pundit?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
the guy who God has been trying to kill unsuccessfully for the past 20
Also
years.
known as the Dying Pundit.
He got some very good cracks in about people have been banned from Twitter from
that
less
was so
than this.
good. After he got owned, and it was like, this isn't. He was like, well, you know, it's not something you should joke about.
Right.
No, here's his
wow.
I'm not owned. I'm
Very,
not
very, very not PC. by the
Yeah, it's
way.
like that sounds like somebody wants Twitter to be a safe space where there is no joking about certain subjects
here's what he
allowed.
said. Reached for comment Monday afternoon when it was obvious he had fallen for a joke. Hoff told the Daily Beast he didn't find the situation amusing and suggested Twitter might consider banning Raandy G. Dub. Quote, I find it concerning that far-left buffoons think voter fraud is a joke, Hoff said. Raandy, quote, may think destroying votes is funny, but many Americans still believe in the sanctity of the ballot box, even after 8 years of Obama. To joke about rigging an election is not a laughing matter. What I like about this is that this is mid him just in like a full month-long froth about how the election is being rigged by the Democrats and like all of these ridiculous, like, you know, I mean, like, yeah, all of these guys, Drudge, Gateway Pundit, like, just on down the fucking food chain have been, like, in full froth, basically doing exactly what Raandy is and making a fucking joke out of the idea that this election is being rigged.
It's important to emphasize, for those of you, you know, following at home, that this was in text, so clearly they were emailing, and he said Randy with all the A's. So, like, he got it after a time.
But now, so 2 days after just being shown to be a complete thick-headed oaf, he's now on this James O'Keefe secret video tip that he's got on his site now. His site is all about this new evidence that James O'Keefe has.
James O'Keefe
Oh
at
my
it again.
God.
Yeah, he apparently has this.
Is this like the real Black Panthers? In
It's exactly like that.
Philadelphia?
He supposedly has a video of a Democratic Party official or like a grassroots like organizer going, "Yeah, we ship people across state lines if we need it.
Have any of you watched it?
I know. What's the point? It's bullshit. It's
Yeah.
obviously bullshit. And it's like, of course it's fucking bullshit. And how could, after a guy is that comprehensively stupid, how could you then be like, okay, I think this time he's got something? Have you watched it?
I watched part of it today, and I was just struck by how much the aesthetic resembles like mid 90s Dateline To Catch a Predator. Like when it was really in its like, you know, the big days of To Catch a Predator, you know, James O'Keefe is standing in front of all of these like kind of stock cybery images that are like flying by and like all these kind of mug shots of like these low-ranking party officials who are like definitely going to get sacked for even like getting a TGI Fridays drink with this guy. And
Yeah, and I imagine it's
James O'Keefe is in a hotel room, and then John DeLorean comes in with a suitcase full of money.
because I imagine that it would be like when Homer Simpson got interviewed by Rock Bottom, and he's like, "Yeah, sweet can, sweet can."
I mean, it would be easy for James O'Keefe to like incriminate like Tom Watson or Peter Dow, but I mean, it actually might have been Peter. Like, I mean, talking about transporting people by bus.
But I mean, like the funny thing about like all this voter fraud shit is like all of these schemes make no fucking sense, right? Like
No.
the thing that Randy said is, I'm a postal worker in Columbus, Ohio, who's tearing up absentee ballots for Trump. Did any of these people like? How would he know that the vote was for
You
Trump
would have
if you were in the
to
post
open
office?
every envelope, which means then when they're getting to the voting areas, they're fucking open already, which would probably raise some eyebrows.
Chris Hayes, it even made its way to like
Yeah, it was on Chris
MSNBC
Hayes
last night, and he
yeah.
did like a I thought he like struck the right-ish tone, which was like, you know, highlight that actually Randy G. Dub is in California, you know, like just the most basic fact checking, which I thought was
You can tell which absentee ballots are for Trump and which aren't for Hillary because the post office is in the tank for Hillary, and so if you absentee voting for Hillary, you don't have to put stamps on it.
Yeah, the campaign has franking privileges. I thought it was
I was gonna
because
say-
I thought it was because all the Trump ones have like barbecue sauce.
I was gonna say they got marinara sauce on them.
Oh, yay, paisan, one vote for Mr. Donald Trump, please. They write it on the outside of the envelope. That's how they think they absentee vote. You just write one vote for Mr. Donald Trump on the envelope and like throw it in your mailbox.
You guys are going to be collecting absentee ballots for Trump in Brooklyn, right? You're going to be going door to door.
Actually,
yeah, I'm gonna
we
be
got
at
three of them
Bensonhurst.
right here.
Yeah.
Right.
Catherine, how is Fusion.net planning on stealing the selection for Hillary?
Well, my salary so far is coming, you know, in check form signed by George Soros.
Excellent. He's got a lot of money.
He does.
He's
He
got a lot
does.
of money to spread
so
around.
I personally am doing my part.
You've been calling Donald Trump and his supporters.
You know,
racist and
we've been
sexist.
bold. We've been bold. It's a time for bravery, and some brave media outlet needs to step up.
Your kids are going to ask you what you did.
And I will say I was in the 101st Airborne Tweet Division, and I was just hashtagging away.
There will definitely be a statue of Randy made after this
Oh,
campaign.
yeah.
Well, what I love about
In
this,
bronze, in bronze.
Another line from the Daily. This is really good. At the end of the Daily Beast article, it says, "And for what it's worth, to cover our bases, the Daily Beast asked Randy G. Dub via DM whether or not he actually works at an Ohio post office. LOL, no," he replied.
Well, that was just what I was going to say. Is that what made us so awesome? Was yes, the tweet is great, but then the way he responded to everyone.
Oh, my God.
When they
See,
were
that's the
when
thing.
they were
Just
shitting
egging
their
them
pants.
on, and
But
they
in
all
the most
bought it again and
deadpan
again.
way. Like
That
they're
is
like,
why Randy
you
is
were
so-
aware that's illegal,
It
right?
was,
He's like,
it was legendary.
it's like no, they told me I
actually
could do it.
illegal.
It's
That is why
Yeah.
Randy
It's
is
cool.
so good.
It's actually
'cause
cool.
The joke that it kicked it off is funny.
Yeah.
But he really comes alive in winding people up in responses.
It's like I'm in the CIA too, and they said I could do it.
Possibly the best thing about all this, though, was that when it got picked up for like mainstream, like very, you know, rated PG media outlets, and they like showed screenshots of her Twitter, they all had to like blur out her pinned tweet, which is one of my like most favorite pinned tweets in the entire universe, which is like, have you not seen this?
What,
it's
Randy's
like,
pin tweet?
It's
Oh,
it's like this. It's like this desperate man
guy.
like tweeting at this
It's
porn
like, when are you
star
going to tell
being
us when
like,
the when are you going to tell us when your scene's going to drop?
Rocket's going to drop, and she just responds so seriously, like, Brad, I do not know. Like, please understand that I do not know.
Like, I just got into it very briefly just because I was seeing this one guy kept like posting the federal code,
the actual penal code.
and he's like, you realize you're breaking the law here.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'll have some fun. And I was just like, yeah, I'm a federal judge, and I can tell you that what Randy's doing is actually totally legal and awesome.
Right.
And then the guy goes like, oh yeah, and then he had like he linked to the Wikipedia page of like federal judges and said, your name's not on here. And then he said, impersonating a federal
Sherlock
judge is
Holmes.
a crime too, right?
Guys, this is Matt's last episode. He's going to prison for saying he was a judge online.
Yeah.
My favorite interaction that this whole thing spawned was he had some woman replying to him, like, where do you work? Like, what post office? And he's like, I'm at the one in Columbus, Ohio. And she said, I'm with an office. There are 4 post offices in Columbus, Ohio. I'm with an officer friend right now. Tell me which one. And he just goes, you'll just have to check them all.
Randy probably saved somebody's life. Like, if you're a post officer, if you're a police officer, I'm a post officer. I love to post. But if you're a police officer who would just like go driving with some dipshit from Twitter to like look for a Raandy G-Dub, like you probably would be in an officer related shooting. And by like eating up all this moron's time, Randy definitely prevented some poor soul from being air-holed by this dipshit.
Sorry, what other really good reaction was someone dug up a photo of him and they were like, this is the guy, this is the postal worker. And it was like him up against a brick wall with like sunglasses half pulled down and like a cigarette out of his mouth, looking like a cool badass rebel. And Virgil just replied to that person, we have to stop this handsome motherfucker.